Hi, Shalyn here from Bible Journaling Ministries Creative Team, and today I want to share with you how to use a cross stencil, Distress Inks, texture paste, popsicle sticks, and your palette knife, along with a beautiful kit for 1 Peter 5, 6 through 7 as we create this beautiful ombre background using texture paste and Distress Inks. So if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, so as we get started, let's take a look at this beautiful kit for 1 Peter 5, 6, and 7. And those verses say, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your worries on him because he cares for you." Wow, what an amazing word from our Lord. And the fact that he makes a promise here to exalt us in due time and to remind us that we can cast all of our worries onto him because he cares for us. So let's look at this 3-page bonus kit for this month. Beautiful watercolor flowers, all kinds of different colors, just gorgeous. This front page has our verses on it. It also has our words here, our tab, and beautiful washi tapes that you can choose from. The second page has your Faith Decks cards, your flags, some more beautiful florals, crosses, and some more washi tape. The third page has your larger elements that you can use. It has the larger words, 3 larger crosses, and beautiful floral arrangements, as well as some more of these watercolor looking flowers. Now I'm also going to be using a stencil that I made, and I made this, I don't know, it was probably during 2020. And it is from Bible Journaling Ministries. It was a printout, a printable just with crosses, and I used my laminator, put a sheet through it, and then created a stencil that I can use. I don't know if you can really see, but it's a full page of just crosses. Now I'm going to use this on my page. As you can see, I have already washied over my verse, and this will just go right on top of my page. I'm going to be using 4 different colors of Distress Inks and the Ranger texture paste. I'm going to mix my texture paste with my inks as I want to make a background of different colored crosses coming down my page. Then we'll add some elements to that. And again, I made my stencil myself using a printable from Bible Journaling Ministries. So I'm going to move my, I also have some small popsicle sticks. I use these in other things that I use, or the other things that I craft. So I have plenty on hand. I bought a huge box of them, and they're good for mixing. So I'm going to leave those there. So the Distress Ink colors that I'm using, they did come from inspiration of the kit, and beautiful fall colors. So I'm using the Fossilized Amber, Vintage Photo Spiced Marmalade, and Prize Ribbon. And what I kind of envisioned in my mind with the stencil is kind of going from lighter to darker, but I don't want to use too much of this blue, only because it's more of an accent. So I'm going to be choosy with where I put this. It may just be add-ins maybe on the side. I don't know yet. But I'm going to use my texture paste. I do have my little knife here that I'm going to put my paste out on, and then I'll mix with my popsicle sticks. So I'm going to start with the Fossilized Ember. And I may just decide not to use the blue. I don't know. So I have my fancy ice cream bucket lid. That is my palette. So I'm just going to open my Distress ink, and I'm going to put some down on my ice cream bucket lid. Just pat it out there. And then I'm going to open my texture paste, take my palette knife, and just scoop a little bit out. The popsicle sticks are really good to kind of smear this off also. And then I'm just mixing this paste with the ink that I've put down. I like to use this texture paste and ink. You could use a dollop of acrylic paint as well if you don't have Distress inks. I'm just going to mix that up. Really well. And this is my lightest color. If you want it to be a little more vibrant, add some more ink. Mix it around. So I'm going to start at the top, and as you can see, my stencil is much larger than my page. So I am just going to do the best I can because there is sort of a margin on the side here that didn't get cut. So I'm not going to put it all the way over into the gutter like this. I'm going to probably stay away from the gutter. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should just put that in the gutter there and hold it. Yes. And then because this is a printable, it's even. The top and the bottom are even. So I'm going to make sure that my crosses here are even across the top, like so. And I do want to put something behind my page just because I may get a little crazy with my texture paste. So that will protect it from getting on my other pages. All right. So I'm going to line those back up again. And then I'm just going to take my palette knife and I'm actually going to put my texture paste on the back of my knife so then I can swipe it down. So I've just got it on the back of my knife. I'm just going to swipe. And again, I made this stencil myself using my Silhouette Cameo and a printable from Bible Journaling Ministries. I don't want to pull too much of it off. So when you apply it, you don't want to pull too much back because then it will take it off of your page. I really would like to go for an ombre type effect. So that's why I started with the lighter color first. And as you can see, I am staying away from the edges there. I don't want it to hinder my tab from sticking too much, at least to the edge of my page. So I need to mix up some more because as you can see, I didn't get very far. I didn't put enough texture paste down. So I will just go through the process again. And you can use your palette knife if you don't have a popsicle stick or a wooden like tongue depressor or anything. You can use the back of your palette knife. I just find that it sticks and then my color is not as even because it's sort of concentrated on there. So just trying to get that color mixed in there. And then I'm just going to wipe my popsicle stick off on the back of my palette knife and continue on. Now, I'm only going to do the top part of these crosses here on this line because I'm going to start with my darker color that, let's see, this one is the fossilized amber, so I'm going to go ahead with the spiced marmalade. Get a little bit more on here. And then fill in some places that might be a little light. Just going to take a baby wipe and wipe off my palette knife. And then clean off my bucket lid. And then I will start the whole process over with the spiced marmalade. I will come down a couple of rows and then I will do the vintage photo. I may come back with the prize ribbon and just go over some of these just to add some of that darker blue as an accent. Okay. So I'm going to start next with the spiced marmalade. And texture paste is so versatile. Distress inks are so versatile. I don't need much because I'm not going to use much texture paste here. I'm just going to use the opposite end of my popsicle stick. A little bit more. I always start with less than what you think you're going to need and then you can add. It's hard to take it away. Okay. It's a nice orange color. And again, inspiration for my colors used from the kit directly. Now I'm just going to pick up that paste, again on the back side of my palette knife, like so. And then I'm going to start in these crosses where I just did the yellow, because I wanted to create an ombre effect. And I'm just lightly dabbing my palette knife onto those crosses. And then as you see, I've got my washi tape down so as not to cover my verses. And this stencil has been used so often that some of the corners of my crosses, the plastic is bent because I've used it so many different times. I've used it with gelatos, I've used it with markers, paint. I really want to make this a little darker. So I'm just going to put some more ink down. I'm going to scrape what I've got of my texture paste here already and just add some more color. Here. Now it's a little bit darker. See, it's a little darker. And, oh yes, lovely. It's almost a pumpkin orange now. I do one row full of the orange, the darker orange. And then I'm going to finish pulling this up onto my knife and only do the top part, because then I'm going to come in with that Vintage Photo, that brown. Clean my palette knife. Clean off my bucket lid. And do it again with the Vintage Photo color. I'm going to clean off my little popsicle stick here too, just so I can continue to use that and not mix the colors up. Maybe, or it's already dried on there, so I'll just use another one. Alright, so Vintage Photo is next. Okay. Put that down, and I don't have much space left at the bottom, and that's okay. So I'm just going to not worry about the popsicle stick and mix my texture paste in with the brown and just go with it the way that it is, because I don't have too many crosses left. And as you can see, I did not tape my stencil down, only because it's sturdy the way that it is. So I didn't. Just using my hand is enough. And then I'm going to do the bottom. Let me push my Bible up a little bit. So they kind of hang off. So I'm just going to finish off the bottom there with those, with that brown, like they're just coming off of the page. So I didn't need to use too much texture paste right here at the end. Okay. Now I just need to decide how I want to use this prize ribbon, or if I want to use it at all. I don't think I want to use it at all at this point. I'll just let the blues and some of the elements come through. So I will clean up my workspace here. And put my lid back on my texture paste because I don't want it to dry out. And again, I used very little of this texture paste to do this with this stencil. So I'm just going to lift straight up off of my Bible page. And now I have this beautiful ombre background. Now you want to let this dry. You can definitely use a hair dryer and dry it. I'm going to let mine air dry, so I will be right back once it's finished drying. Okay, so my texture paste and color is dry, and now I'm going to lift my washi and go ahead and highlight my verses, and then we'll start with the kit. So since I didn't use any of the blue to accent my crosses, I'm going to take a blue Crayola Twistable, and I'm going to use this to highlight my verse in blue. So it's verses 6 and 7. Twistables are a great alternative for highlighters because they are crayons, sort of. And you can still read your scripture. And truly, if you don't use your texture paste with a color too heavily, you can still see through, because I did use the opaque texture paste and I didn't use it too heavy. So, and it just gives, well, it gives what it says, texture to your page. So I've highlighted and used the accent color that I wanted to in the blue using my Crayola Twistable. Now let's go ahead and get started with some of our elements from our kit. I'm going to put my tab on first. And some of these crosses will be covered with the elements that I use, but I just wanted a background, an ombre background, and I loved my cross stencil. So that is what I decided to use. Let me look and see. Okay. So I'll put this on the side. I've already folded it on itself. So I can go ahead and put that down. Let's see, now to just make a decision. And I know as I look through the kit, so these two flowers here are the only ones with that blue, and I definitely want to use that. So I'm going to go ahead and put those down. And since they're smaller, I'm going to go around my crosses. Well, at least with that one. And then this other one, I'm going to place here. And I have, so on this other page, I used some beads. And so I can't just push down flat because I've got those beads on there. So I've got my my accent of the blue, I definitely wanted to use those. So I've got those there. Then these other beautiful, beautiful florals. They look like they're watercolor and they're just gorgeous. I want to go ahead and put my words on, and I'm going to use the larger words. Cutting the white off of the top. So I'm going to use this down here at the bottom, towards the bottom, as in contrast to my darker crosses, because the color, amazingly enough, is almost identical to the ones up here with my words. And I could always go back with my Posca pen, or an acrylic paint pen of a different color, or maybe a marker, and go around my words. Put this towards the bottom here, kind of separating, because I don't want to cover up I didn't get to use much of the other color, the darker colors in my crosses on my page. I went a little crazy with my my yellow, so I didn't want to cover up too much of that. Okay, so I'm going to use my Tombow brush pen. They're double-sided or double-ended. This one, of course, has the brush tip, and then this one just has a fine point tip. So I'm going to go around my words here just to pull them off the page. And I'm not going over where I have the texture paste, because I don't want the texture of it to ruin the nib of my marker. So I'm just going to go around it, but still outlining my words to bring some attention to them. And I chose the brown just because I was down here in the browns that I used. So let's look on the other side. Tombows, they ghosted a little, and I was pressing kind of hard, but they didn't bleed through. It's just a little ghosting on the other page. And you can see the ghosting of the Distress inks. Now, Distress inks are strong, like the pigment in them are strong. So even mixing them with the texture paste, they did ghost through on the other side. But that doesn't, again, for me, it doesn't bother me. So I went around my words there, made them pop off of the page. Put my pen to the side. And I think I'm going to use this washi, and I'm trying to, let's see, I think I'm going to trim this just a bit. So the washi has this line. I'm going to trim on the inside of that line to make it just a little thinner. trying to cut just as straight as I can, which is not one of my talents. Draw straight, cut straight, lay something down straight. I'm directionally challenged when it comes to that. Are you? Okay, so I just trimmed that off. I think I did a pretty good job on that. And now I'm just going to lay this on the side, right along the edge of my page. There. There we go. So pretty. I just love all of these flowers. And again, it excites me because whatever I don't use in my journaling in my Bible here, I will use in my Bible gardens. And I love the florals for that, any of the florals for that. So I want to use this very large. Let me make sure I can, because I want to turn it this way and put it, yes, I believe I can get away with that. So again, printing on sticker paper or white shipping labels, full page shipping label, cutting with my Silhouette. I would not want to fussy cut all of these little elements. They're so very detailed and they're just gorgeous. And my hands, well, more so my wrists. I have carpal tunnel in both hands, and I've had surgery on my left hand twice, and I'm still dealing with carpal tunnel. So fussy cutting is not something that I really enjoy a lot because it really makes my hands hurt. So I want to put this up and down. But I don't want to cover my verse, see? So instead of using it, I really wanted to use it here, but it's also going to cover up my tab, and I don't want that either. Okay, so maybe I won't use that. Let's put that back. It's a little large. It's okay. Will go nicely in my illustrating, one of my illustrating Bibles. Let's try this other one. Oh, that's much better. Put it like this. And again, the texture paste is going to, it's raised on your page. So you may have to work with your elements a little bit to get them to stick down. And they're not going to be flat because the texture paste is not flat. Use some of these greenery stems just to add and then I'm going to use the verse itself, even though I've got it highlighted. going to put it over here in the gutter there. And then I'm just going to leave what I've got. I'm not going to add any more because I love these crosses and I love that ombre look, and the floral elements, the washi tape, and then I've got the God Cares for Me. I am going to date it, and then we are going to let this one speak for itself, as gorgeous as it is. But if you enjoyed learning how to use a stencil from one of the Bible Journaling Ministries printables, as well as learning how to use texture paste and distress inks and this gorgeous kit for 1 Peter 5 verses 6 and 7, give this video a thumbs up. Remember to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss a thing that goes on with Bible Journaling Ministries tutorials. And I have enjoyed being with you, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Bye.